So, PC building time. I have all the components I need for a new build. I'm gonna be taking a hard drive from the previous computer. That's a 2 terabyte drive. This guy right here, this is gonna be a dedicated video storage drive for any kind of recording. But everything else is basically brand new. I did unbox this 5070 Ti earlier so I could play Doom Dark Ages with better graphics. So I did do that, and that also forced me to get a 1000-watt power supply earlier, which is also unboxed at this point. But aside from that and the additional hard drive, this is a brand new build. We have a Ryzen 7800 X3D, not a 9800 X3D. I decided to stick with the 7800 because I'm upgrading from a 3900X. So it's gonna be a considerable leap, especially for gaming. And I figured maybe like 2, 3, maybe 4 years, I could consider upgrading to whatever the end-of-life AM5 chip is. Because I missed out on doing that with my AM4 box, and I'm kind of disappointed because the 5800 X3D is no longer available like new, and the 5700 X3D is like $250 on the cheap. It doesn't really make sense to buy that chip anymore for that computer. So, you know, I learned my lesson on that. The motherboard, we're going with an MSI Gaming Plus, an X670E. It has got PCIe 5 capabilities, which I figure, why not? If I'm doing a new build, might as well get some future proofing going on there. It does have just enough features right here, including the number of PCIe slots, because I do need an encoding card for capture when I'm playing console, and I might need an additional card here and there depending on if I'm doing any kind of 10 gigabit Ethernet connections or something like that. So it's always good to have that consideration. We've got some Corsair Vengeance DDR5 RAM. It's 6000 megahertz, and it's also CL30, I believe. 30, 36, 36, 76 is the timing on this. So should be good RAM, looking forward to that. So I decided to go with a 2 terabyte 990 EVO Plus Samsung drive. This is going to be both a boot drive and a game storage drive. So it should be fast enough for modern games, and obviously operating system speed, it's gonna be no problem at all. I got some Artic MX6 thermal paste just in case I needed additional thermal paste. We've also got some additional reverse blade fans from Be Quiet, so we can kind of complete the case build, and I'll show the case off in a bit here. And then for the cooler, I'm going with Thermalright this time. It is the cheapest option, but it seems to be just as good as the others from what I've read online. Fingers crossed, right? Aqua Elite 360 white version 3. If you haven't noticed, I'm going with a mostly white build. My graphics card is not white, and neither is my power supply, but I feel like those are kind of cool off accents, having those dark. Plus the motherboard's got like white accents with a little bit of green in there. So I think it should be a cool looking build. And finally the case. It is a Be Quiet Light Base 600LX. It's got the RGB controllers inside of it. It's also got 3 reverse fans plus an exhaust fan. And yeah, I'm looking forward to building this guy. So first things first, we need to unbox some things. Let's check out this motherboard first. Here we go. I'm not gonna unbag this just yet because I do have some gloves off to the side, some nitrile, whatever they're called, gloves. Let's see what else this has. We've got some instructions. We've got a quick start guide right here. Give all the basics that we need. A few additional screws actually. European Union regulatory notices. Make sure to read those babies. Got some stickers to label things as well. Pretty cool. I think this is the Wi-Fi bar. Yeah. You know, I typically don't use Wi-Fi with tower PCs, but it is 6E, Wi-Fi 6E, which is pretty fast. So I might use it. A couple of SATA cables as well. I'll be using at least one of these for my additional drive. So that's the motherboard. Let's have a look at the Thermalright now. This did have a bit of a dent right here. Hopefully nothing is actually damaged on here. Just a little shipping kerfuffle. This is officially my first Thermalright product. And I'm assuming we go like so. Okay, yeah. We got a manual right here. This got paste. It does not have paste. So I will have to apply some thermal paste there. I'll probably just use the MX6 that I got instead of what comes with it, because I'm assuming that's going to be better. Mounting kit. So this did come with its own paste to apply, and then all the mounting screws. And I'm assuming the different mounting options. I'm pretty sure this comes with both AMD and Intel. Pretty sure it said that. It would suck if it didn't. AMD, AM4, AM5 installation. Perfect. We are good right there. Yeah, this looks really nice. I definitely was going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to go with an AIO all-in-one or if I wanted to do air again. I like air because, you know, if a fan dies, a fan dies. It's no problem. You can swap it out. If the radiator dies, you know, if there's a leak, then you have major component problems, but the chances of that happen are typically very low. And also the air coolers look really ugly. Just, they do. They look ugly, right? This thing is definitely gonna look better in the build. Okay, that should be good. It doesn't look like the damage to the box was bad or anything. Our unit should be okay, unless it's actually faulty. Corsair Vengeance. Here we go. Very nice. Now our hard drive, 990 Evo Plus. Ooh, it's right there. Okay, lastly, we have our CPU, 7800X 3D. Guess we break the seal right here. There we go. Got a little case badge. This guy pops out. And our chip. Anything else in here? Nope. Just a bunch of space. So last thing is the case, which is right next to me. These are all gonna light up with the LEDs. The fans are gonna light up. These fans right here are intake fans. The bottom will be intake as well. And then that back fan exhausts and the top fans will exhaust. So first things first, these bottom reverse fans need to go down in there. So we got 3 of them. We need to do that and we need to open this guy up. Let's actually take a look. Here's the grate. The filter looks really nice. Yeah. There's a hard drive box right here that I'm not going to be using because I'm not going to be putting any mechanical drives in here. So I might as well take this thing off. 1 screw right here, 1 screw right here, and 1 screw on the bottom right there. Take those off, and then this whole thing should slide on out. Accessory box, and there's one of the fan RGB controllers, and the other one is up top, right there. Really nice feature of this case, having 2 RGB controllers. So let's take off the glass here, like so. And then if we want to take the front corner glass off, we have to unscrew these screws right here. This one and this one to take off this plate. Nice and easy. Okay, this is looking good. Now let's take off the top. So this screw right here, pop this off, and then I believe this whole top grate should just come right off. Yeah, like so. Now we gotta do the same thing to the bottom. And I think we'll just go like so. Kind of hard to do it one-handed. Yeah. So we need to open up these fans right here and install them on the bottom. We need to do some cable management as well. Ooh, one thing we gotta do is put these grommets on. Okay, so we've got the fans on the bottom. We've done a little bit of cable management. Put the grommets into the case. That was very important as well. I think it's time to put on the gloves and start installing the CPU and the motherboard and all that stuff.
Here's Charlie.
It's time for some anti-static gloves. All right, we got our chip, got our motherboard. So we need to consult some manuals here because we need to see what we have to do for the AIO, the cooler, and make sure we install the CPU right. It's been a while since I've done this. Okay, so it's saying we need to remove the brackets here. Oh, actually, I might be doing this in the wrong order. This is specifically for the AIO. We need to do the CPU first, but I know I'm gonna have to take these off anyway, so. So there's a quick installation guide here for the motherboard. Yeah, and these brackets, we would have used these if we were using a stock cooler, which we obviously are not doing. You make sure the corner is right there. So step one is we unhinge this, bring this back. We pick this up, pull it back like that. Step two, we get the chip. Step four, put this back down. Step five, bring this down. And our chip should technically be installed. Next thing that we need to do is install our NVMe drive because we can just access it right here. We got to take these screws off first. Now this is not a Gen 5 NVMe, unfortunately, but I think it's okay, personally. It's got a little film that you remove. So with this, we're just gonna drop it on in right here. So it clips down, and then this little plastic deal slides over to kind of catch it. I think that's good. Okay, looks like that's exactly what I'm supposed to do. So that is good to go, which means that we can now put our screws back for the heatsink and tighten it on down. There we go. So NVMe drive is officially installed. We need to install the memory now. So I'm pretty sure we need to use slot 2 and 4. I think that's how it's numbered. Doesn't say anything on this quick installation guide, of course. I'm gonna refer to the manual real quick. Yeah, 2 and 4. Fresh DDR5 memory. Vengeance. Pop these back. Stick number 1 is good. Stick number 2 into RAM slot number 4. Okay, RAM is firmly seated, looking very good. Now it is time to install the brackets for the AIO. Got a little fan aggregate tool right here for the AIO, so you can plug all 3 fans into one source. Okay, AMD. When you put the plastic circles, then the metal, then the screws, is what it looks like. Doesn't appear to be a top or bottom for these. Yeah. Now metal brackets. So metal bracket number 1 will sit roughly like that. Metal bracket number 2 will sit roughly like this. Let me just verify and double check. Now we secure the screws into the setup here. I'm not too sure how tight these need to be. I'm assuming relatively tight. There's no warning about over tightening them. And that's what I would be concerned about. I think we're good. Again, don't want to like really muscle it. Be worried about that. Fan and radiator installation, and then the wiring guide. We will save that when we get to that point. All right, time to place the motherboard into the case and line up the screws accordingly. Must have a cable in the way here. We need to get rid of that. That would be bad. We need to line up our I/O. Make sure that is good. First screw down. This top right screw is a little off, but everything else appears to be lined up. Like this little hole right here, lined up perfectly. It's just this top right screw is slightly off. It's bugging me a little bit. So far, so good. This corner one is slightly off. Maybe it's just the manufacturing, the case is just slightly off on there. That's okay, we got it. Motherboard is officially secured and looking nice. Next up, I think we're gonna put the power supply in and start hooking up cables. And then after the cables are hooked up, then we'll hook up the AIO and finish off the cooling system for the CPU. Because I think it's gonna be a little bit easier to work with the cables without the AIO inside the case just yet. So we'll work with it like that. All right. Now, the power supply. $1,000-watt power supply. This is going to go in like this. It should just sit like that. Great. Nice and secure. This is what it looks like from the backside. This pops out for convenience and cable management, so we can easily access the back of this. It is pretty snug next to the motherboard. I'm sure it's fine. Here's the cables. So we will feed it through. Exactly the amount of cable that we actually need. Like that. Okay, this goes like that. Perfect. CPU power. All right, we have cable managed quite a bit so far. Got our GPU cable right here. Got cables hooked up around the motherboard. I do think it's looking pretty nice so far. It is now time to put the AIO water cooler on the board. I'm gonna hang the radiator first and then connect it to the CPU. So let's do that. Sure, we're gonna go like this and then attach accordingly. Yeah, I think it's gonna go something like that. So we're gonna set it on its back. We need to make sure we peel this off. Ooh, I do need to secure this. I forgot about that. We're gonna secure it like that. Before I do that, I need to make sure this radiator is good though. Forgot to tighten up all the screws on it. We are officially ready for some thermal paste. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. Now let's get a nice tight seal. We officially have a tight connection. So we need to plug in the RGB for the pump and the fan for the pump as well. Time to install the GPU. And then I think it's time to see if this thing posts. Also, we need to install the GPU holder as well, which I'm not sure where that goes in this. Okay, first things first, we need to see how this thing sets in. See where it lines up. Ooh, I took the wrong one off. And here's the GPU holder. I'm not really pleased with it, with this card, unfortunately. I can't have this out, otherwise it's gonna touch the fan. It's not really doing its job the best that it could be doing, so I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep that there, honestly. Okay. It's feeling heavy now. I think it's looking pretty damn good. Cable management is not bad at all. This cable, I'd kind of like this cable to be a little more straight like that, but I'm not sure if I can make it sit like that or not. Looks like I need to tighten up the back a bit. Next step is to plug it in and see if it posts. Moment of truth, first test of booting. Ooh, she is lighting up. Let's see if it posts. New CPU installed. It looks like it booted. This is very good. So it has officially been about a week and a half since I built this PC. Everything came together really smooth, honestly, and I've had no hiccups in Windows 11. Installation was a breeze, no driver issues whatsoever. Updated the BIOS on the motherboard to the latest, no problem with that. The Thermalright cooler, when I first booted it up, it was holding temperatures just below 40 Celsius. But now it does seem to be up about 44 Celsius at idle. So I don't know if that's just over time it's settled into more of like a 44 Celsius type of idle temperature. If it does move up from that though on the idle, then maybe there's a problem with the thermal paste that I applied. So I might have to look into that down the road if there is such an issue. So far from what I've seen when I'm gaming, the temperatures generally are around 70 to 75. So honestly, nothing crazy right there. And when I ran a CPU benchmark, it peaked at 85 Celsius. So totally within normal operating range of where it should be. I did also install the AverMedia card right there. That is for 4K capture of a console. So I'm using that for the PS5 Pro and potentially the Switch 2 in the future. One final thing I will say in terms of the case, the Be Quiet case here, I really like this case. I like the layout. I like the configurability and all that. One thing that was annoying is that the rubber grommets for all the cables and all that are not pre-installed. And it's a little weird because the fan wires are already going through those holes. So you have to disconnect basically all the fans to then install the rubber grommets, and then you rerun all those wires through them again, which I feel like if they're already wiring that stuff in the factory with the cables, why not just put the grommets in there in the first place? So that's a little weird. I don't know why they do it that way. The second thing is the GPU holder. I do still have the GPU holder right there, but it's not really the most elegant for the 5070 Ti that I have in there. So if I was gonna knock anything off this case, I'd say those 2 points right there are a little annoying. But aside from that, I'm really enjoying the case. I think it looks awesome and I'm very happy with it. If you're curious about any parts for this PC, I will have links below. They will be affiliate links, which means that if you buy through those links, I do get a small commission at no additional charge for you. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for going on the journey with me. I do appreciate that. I will probably do some sort of follow-up video in the future with some more spec related type of stuff. But for now, I'll see you next time for another video. Peace.